Well, that's the end of broadcasting for today in the BBC Light programme, with the exception of the shipping forecast on 1500 metres. But we shall be back on the air again tomorrow morning at 6:30 with the news summary, and the Home Service will be on the air at 6:45 with the market report for farmers. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, good night to you all. Good night. That goes for you too, Bob. Don't forget to turn out the light. Goodbye.
Light closed, treble O to 30.
Treble O 230, right? Yes, broadcasting house, yes.
But Harry, drop down Y6 and take up Y11.
Reed, you take a couple of the boys and start putting up the bar, will you? Bert, you want 3 more of the iron trellises in.
Right, now that's
6 tops
make
on
it
the
C
top.
and A. Now, Harry,
more.
drop down X16 and X15. Right, take it up, Harry, Y6.
And the 6 tops on the top of your frame, Bert. Continue in a straight line. Right through to 68.
You're tuned to the General Overseas Service of the BBC. This is the British Broadcasting Corporation.
Well, that's sewn up the O200 English. Did the Latin Americans get that last story?
Yes, they did. And they're still on the air for half an hour, so if you've got any more, I'd like it.
Okay. Copy taste. Anything new for the O300 summary?
In commentary after the news, you'll hear how things look at Westminster. Oh, 2 hours, Greenwich Mean Time.
This is London Calling. Here is the news read by Derek Baker. Britain is to test a new guided missile in Australia.
Americano de la BBC de Londres llega así al fin de la transmisión dirigida a la zona al norte del río Amazonas, América Central y México. Buenas noches.
The news in Russian follows in the 49, 41, 31, 25, 19, 16 and 13-meter bands.
Говорит Лондон. BBC начинает передачу на русском языке. Слушайте выпуск последних известий. Министр обороны заявил в Палате общин, что разработка нового британского управляемого снаряда идет скорее, чем предполагалось. Снаряд будет испытан на полигоне Вумера в Австралии этим летом.
Avrupa Yayınları Merkezi. Sayın dinleyiciler.
Ο Βρετανός Υπουργός Αμήνης εδήλωσε προς την Βουλή των Κοινοτήτων ότι η ανάπτυξη...
English by radio.
Započneme našu prvu svetovno predavanje na festivalni 11., 13., 16.
Good morning, Mr. Demaniel. It's 5:45. It's time to get up.
Good morning, Mrs. Barnes. Well, the weather's late this morning.
Mrs. Caudley, who keeps stopping up that sink?
Somebody dropped their flat then.
Good morning, Mr. Greenstade. It's 5 to 6.
Tiddly.
Morning. I thought you weren't coming.
At Lincoln, the stewards are to inspect the course again later this morning.
Right, let's have a dab.
That's all right, I think.
Right, that's fine. Thank you. Anyone want coffee?
Please sit back.
Go on, Tim. 3 minutes of summary, no difficult words.
Good morning, everybody. It's 6:30 and the BBC Light programme's beginning another day's broadcasting. First, here's a summary of the news. Budget Day will be a fortnight on Tuesday, the day that Parliament reassembles after the Easter recess. The influenza epidemic in Thailand is now reported to have caused several thousand deaths. To increase trade. At Lincoln, the stewards are to inspect the course again later this morning. And that's the end of the news summary. Now, until 8:30, we have our programme of morning music.
If we don't get anything at all from them...
Morning, Bob.
Hello, Jeff.
Morning, Jeff.
Hello,
Hello, Margaret.
We use the submarine piece
Right
instead.
here.
Margaret, the disc. We may not need to use it at all, but I'll let you know by 7 o'clock.
Right,
Depends what we get from Moscow if we get anything at all.
I've had this rather amusing card about George. I wonder if we could use that.
Well, if we got time, it's what we get. You see, this is the Moscow thing about to be about.
Melody on the Move this morning was played by the BBC Northern Ireland Light Orchestra. Now the time is 9 o'clock. Time for Housewife's Choice, introduced by Richard Murdoch.
Good morning, ladies. Our first request this morning is from Mrs. Ada Spillington, Oak Lodge, Crawley, Sussex, for her daughter Ellen. She says you'd like some jolly music to help you start the day, so what about this?
Keep à côté clés et des longs. Pour lui répéter tout bas la légende du pays aux oiseaux. Et sur sa robe éclatante, dans ce jardin enchanté, oh, la sonore frissonnante, à la fraîcheur d'une allée parfumée, des gris et de l'odeur des fougères, elle rêve à celui qui transformera pour elle bon pour la vie.
Well, those were the Blue Stars, or Les Étoiles Bleues, as the French so seldom say.
Bishop of Coventry. General weather forecast and news at 8.
Yes.
Programme parade.
Yes.
And today, the second edition
No,
at 8:15.
I would have put it off then.
Nothing else after that?
Hearts which without thee are cold and dull. Enlighten the minds which without thee are dark and blind.
Come down, O Lord. I think this is an excellent thing from the third programme point of view. I would like, however, to go back to something we were talking about last week, namely the broadcasting of music anonymously. I've been having second thoughts about this, and I'd like to hear more from the music department about the idea.
Well, the listener's not expected to guess the composer, but simply to listen without preconceptions.
How does this strike you from the drama point of view?
Well, frankly, to me, this savours too much of a gimmick. I'm in favour of the experiment. Anything that diminishes the...
And what about the light programme?
I've got a number of contributions from Midland region about Fabian of the Yard, from outside broadcast department, some travelogues. Now, what about home?
Well, it'll be mainly music, George. When schools are running, we can't do much light music in the home service in the afternoon. School's off. I shall do mainly music, and you might take some of it.
Yes, but can I come in and out?
Entry point, exit point?
Yes.
Yes, with warning that can be arranged. We do that with plenty of other programs, sure.
Well, there's only one final point I have, and that is some new draft setup of our program for Radio Times. They're very draft.
Secretaries from the New York office to the Canadian office. What I really wanted to have a word with you about was the international hookup.
Oh, the big one, yes.
That's right.
We've got a bit further with that. Now, the Italian radio, I've been in touch with them. They're going to help us.
Good.
But I've got some queries. France. Now, can the BBC office in Paris cope, do you think?
Important story is the American Secretary of Commerce's speech about European trade difficulties.
Yes, I quite agree. And we'll have to have a central talk on that, George.
Oh, yes, a very important subject. It's just the question how we tackle it.
Yes, in fact, are there any local wrinkles? Anything special for Germany, Lindley?
Yes, I think it's important both for Western Germany and for Eastern Germany, because for Western Germany we must stress and make clear the differences between us and the United States, whereas for Eastern Germany and for all the countries behind the Iron Curtain, we must make it clear that we do have these differences, but that we can talk about them frankly and openly. I think it's most important.
In fact, no cotton wooling. And is that right for Spain and Italy?
There's a straightforward clash here. I'd rather have a discussion.
But I think discussion later, certainly. But today, we do need a short talk. Edward, for France.
For once, I agree entirely with the head of the German service.
Jolly good.
And for Russia.
No, I agree. A short talk for today. We may have to come again after we've seen the Russian.
人类的集中顽固扭放。
现在报告新闻。法国政府欢迎美国提出的跟欧洲增加贸易的建议，条件是不要影响现有的协定。
Right, that looks after the piazza sequence. Then comes the production number. Now what we want is a camera that's able to track right past the canal. Now do you think we can get a Venetian canal in the studio?
With real water?
Yes, it must be real water.
But a canal will have to be 50 foot long, 8 foot wide, at least 6 inches deep. It's over 1,000 gallons of water and very heavy.
You mean it'll go clean through the studio floor?
No, it's not that so much as the seepage. But I have an idea. Suppose we put rostrum through there.
Yes, agreed.
Yes, yes, yes.
Am I doing it too quickly?
No, you see, it's a pure comedy scene. And it starts the moment the gunfire begins with you rushing, first to the chaplain, then to the gunner, saying, take the cannon off, take it off.
Next point. The start of the Royal Tour has been altered to Monday. It's obviously something we've got to cover.
Well, now, the situation as I see it is that the 3 London units are committed, but we could pull one of them out in the last resort. And I know that you're all fairly booked up, but could we just go through it again to make sure? Scotland?
Well, I'd like to be able to help, but we've probably got the car rally for Grandstand on the Saturday.
Yeah. North?
Sorry, no. We've rugby league on the Saturday.
Midland?
We've got the Sunday service from Birmingham.
Ah, yes. Well, West?
Well, of course, you know how we always love a trip to London. But, no, I'm sorry, we've got racing on the Friday and Saturday, and then we've got to be back in Bristol by Sunday night because of the rehearsals for the Tuesday play.
Well, that leaves you then, Wales.
Yes, well, we like a trip to London too, but sorry, we're committed to our Welsh language programs on Sunday.
I think you might be free the Friday before if you could telerecord that Welsh program for the Sunday. We've got Channel 3.
Let me check. Yes, I think we could telerecord on Friday, if that'll do.
All right, well, thank you, Wales. We'll work on that basis for the time being, then.
I'll check
that. Right, good. Next point is the swimming.
The next thing we've got to worry about is the one a fortnight from now, which should be on brain surgery, I would have thought.
We've got a very good brain surgeon who's interested and who would like to do it.
We ought to try and get hold of X-rays, I would have thought.
He's got plenty of material. He can bring X-rays with silver clips to show the line of incision and excellent diagrams from the Department of Medical Illustration.
We ought to take care of the difference of medical view on this, the different views within the profession.
Hugh, there's always a division of opinion about major brain surgery for psychiatric reasons in the profession. But in fact, we all know that this is the best we can do at the present time, and therefore we have to do it in certain cases. If we make that clear, we shan't be deceiving anybody.
Well, we did plan to have the film. We had the Paris Flea Market film, all planned for Monday. Then the crisis in the Middle East broke on Sunday night. We had to mount the discussion instead.
Yes, but Panorama is called the window on the world. I think we must have as much of the world as we can get in it.
Yes, you can't have it both ways. You've got to be topical as well. Yes, if you look at next week's program, we've got Africa.
Yes, Robert Key's film is in from Central Africa. And then James Morris is in Edinburgh with the silent camera. And John Freeman is going off tomorrow to look into this business of the teaching of sex in schools.
Yes, we may have to hold over the Edinburgh story because Francis is going to Geneva to follow up the story that's broken today from Thailand about flu.
Well, what exactly do you want?
Well, I think the thought is to find out how soon they can get an effective vaccine against this new type of flu.
The latest news suggests the epidemic has reached Burma. We shall soon see whether or not it's going to spread further west. This is Charles Wheeler in Delhi. I return you now to Radio Newsreel in London.
Okay, thank you, Charles. We'll just check the recording. Oh, Charles, while they're doing that, Bush House for External Services News, they've already asked for a piece on this, so perhaps we'd better have another circuit later today.
All right, I'll get something ready.
It's all right, Charles, thank you.
All right.
Dan, while you're waiting, first, would you ring Tom Cadet in Paris and ask him to give us some French reaction to the American trade delegation that's coming over here? We'll want that for the 1 o'clock news bulletin.
Okay, yes.
And secondly, on the same subject, I think we should cable Washington.
PA, Rush. Oh, thanks. There's a plane missing over the Atlantic. They're searching for it from Cornwall.
An airliner?
Yes, charter airliner. I'll let reporting organizer know.
And television?
Yes.
Reporting organizer. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, right. I've got it. Thank you. Give me station's bookings, please. I want a news priority call to news editor, Bristol. Okay, thank you. Where's the air correspondent?
London Airport had a press conference.
Thank you. News editor, Bristol. An airliner from Amsterdam to New York is overdue after leaving Shannon. An air-sea rescue operation has started at St. Morgan. Will you send reporters? I shall send the air correspondent flying out from London Airport. I shall also alert 2 regions, Belfast, Northern Ireland, and Glasgow, Scotland. You'll get moving, will you? Right, thank you. Get me London Airport, will you?
Right.
Alert Alexander Palace. Tell them I want a plane to fly Reg Terminal over an air-sea rescue operation across the Atlantic from London Airport and make it priority, would you?
There are inquiries.
Thank you. Right.
I want to page the BBC air correspondent.
Is that Bristol? Look, it's Alexander Palace here. You've heard about this airliner that's in the drink somewhere. Yes, well, look, this is what we want for television news. Can you get the silent camera up from Plymouth to St. Morgan? Yeah? They can get some stuff of the Shackletons taking off, pilots being briefed and that sort of thing, and get that film back to Bristol for 6 o'clock. We'll take an injection. Yes? Now, we're going to send sound down from London. Yes, they'll be taking off from Croydon pretty soon with the air correspondent. We ought to get some good interviews at St. Morgan. Incidentally, I'll tell these chaps to get a move on, will you? That's right. And the plane will stay down there and fly that direct back to London for the 10 o'clock. Right. Now, look, what about the sound unit, the West Sound Unit? Where is it? Bath. What is it doing? Oh, look, scrub that. Yes, scrub it all together. And get them on the way to Mountbatten. Yeah, the search headquarters, yes. And we might get something from there from the 10 o'clock as well.
Mountbatten, Plymouth to St. Morgan. Now, how far is that?
Is there any news yet of the missing plane?
At present, unfortunately, no.
How is the search being organized?
The search is being carried out by ships and aircraft. The one aircraft from St. Morgan is already in the area, and another one is about to leave for the area.
These are Coastal Command aircraft.
These are all Coastal Command.
The orchestra begins concert hour today with the Overture to the Master Singers by Wagner.
I paid a visit to the Air Ministry roof to meet some of the meteorologists, or as they are sometimes called, liars.
Thank you. Gonna be nice. Betty.
Yes, Jake.
Page 7.
Right.
The top speech.
Mrs. Olga Cremorne requests the pleasure of Mr. Kenneth Horne's company at a meeting.
Whoa, Betty.
Yes?
More on mic, dear.
Sorry.
Mrs. Olga Cremorne requests the pleasure of Mr. Kenneth.
What is the matter? I've never seen such disorder in any studio. Cue him.
What's the matter? Here, let me get my washing off that gun, you fool.
Catholics, surprise attack. We don't know if we can get away in time. Shift this gun.
For heaven's sake, I better go to the commander.
With my better judgment, now run.
150.
What on earth are you doing in a horse hat? Take it off this minute. Are you crazy with the enemy coming?
No, hold it,
You
hold
want
it,
them to
hold it,
find
hold
you
it,
and
hold
ruin
it.
you?
Hold it. Paddy. Yeah? Camera 2, show us that shot. Show us the girl first. Show me the girl. Could Mother Courage approach her from her left shoulder?
What, from here?
No. From here.
From here.
Not standing behind. Now come forward, come towards me. That's it.
To here?
To here.
Oh.
Half a pace to your right, Paddy, half a pace. No, too much. That's it. That is the shot 150.
From there.
What on earth are you up to with the horse head? Yeah.
Can I do it with the two men? Because
Yes, could the gunners come back? On camera 124, leave it, you blockhead.
149. Leave it, you blockheads. Who's going to pay you for that? It'll cost you your lives. I'll keep an eye on it for you.
You're my witness. I tried.
I'll swear to it.
150.
What on earth are you doing in a horse hat? Take it off this minute. Are you crazy with the enemy coming? Do you want them to see you and ruin you?
And cut to 1.
153.
Where are my red boots?
I left them here. Oh, I'll have to go back to the camp barefoot. It's a
No,
scandal.
Miss Robson. Too late.
What do you got there?
All right. Hold it, Dick. Miss Robson must cue too late.
No, I'm not queuing her, Rudy. She takes her own entrance on that.
Well,
You're a
then
bit
she
late.
has to come sooner.
Can you come sooner?
Yes.
Because we are planning Georgia across to here, and once she gets about here, we want to be...
This is the BBC Home Service. Here is the 1 o'clock news. Aircraft and ships are searching the Atlantic for an airliner missing on a charter flight from Amsterdam to New York. Our air correspondent is joining one of the RAF Shackletons taking part in the search. The French government have welcomed the American trade proposals. Britain and Australia have offered medical help to fight the Thailand influenza epidemic. Just over 2 hours ago, an air search was started over the Atlantic for an airliner reported missing on a charter flight from Amsterdam to New York. Ships, including an aircraft carrier, are also looking for the plane which was carrying 90 people. It made one radio report an hour after taking off from Shannon Airport early today, but nothing has been heard from it since. A BBC reporting team, including our air correspondent, is joining one of the Coastal Command Shackletons taking off from St. Morgan in Cornwall. We hope to have a report from him later in this bulletin. The French Minister for Industry and Commerce has said we're going over to join our air correspondent over the Atlantic.
This is Reginald Turnill calling from a Shackleton of RAF Coastal Command. We've just taken off from St. Morgan in Cornwall.
And there you heard Il Clamore, an arrangement by Mr. Alan Roper. He's the gentleman who's made so much money out of the coffee business, he now has a house in his own grounds. Thank you, gentlemen. And now, for what we're about to receive, over to you, Mr. Ainsworth. Well, how about that then? The end of what in polite society is referred to as Make Way for Music. It's a live and lively broadcast from the Playhouse Theatre, Manchester.
This is the BBC television service. Today's broadcast for schools is the third in the series Transport and Communication. Now, here's Arthur Garrett.
Well, this is a program about the history of the motor car. And as you see, I'm seated in a motor car now. And you may think this is a funny old crock, but this was a motor car which actually made history. It was the first motor car which was mass-produced. Let me show you one or two things about it. First of all, the wheels. Cleverly designed so that they were easy to make, yet strong. Cars like this had no self-starters or anything of that kind. Motoring was pretty tough in those days. You may still see some of these cars in different parts of the world today. And just to show you that this one's a real runner, well, we'll start it up.
BBC on the launch Santosi. BBC on Santosi calling Harrods. Hello, Harrods. Can you hear me? How's the signal?
I'm very surprised at that. But look, as we're doing it together, we must get our arrangements complete. So, John, where have you put us? Which side have you put each of us?
Well, I've arranged for you to be over here on the starboard side, John, for the English commentary, and Monsieur Udlist over here.
I see. Now, where's the television launch?
Well, the television launch will be over here on the Surrey side, and we shall be, in fact, between the television launch and the umpire's launch.
I see. Well, now, that means, you see, that at the start of the race, I shall get the better view of the crew, because they'll be on my side.
Yes.
But when we get up to the milepost, up here, When you get right up there, you'll find the crews will come right across onto your side, and you'll have much the best view of them as they get there.
Yes, but won't the television launch interfere with me?
Not with your view of the race, no. But I better warn you, you may get pretty wet up there, because it's got a pretty heavy wash.
Winford, you and I will be aboard the launch with the rest of the television team, but I don't think we'll worry them for the moment while they're getting the cameras and radio links set up.
Look, who do you want to begin? Do you want Brian to welcome viewers?
No, you do, but it's got to be pretty snappy, because there's under a minute before the first 8 comes down to the water, and I want him to do that. I want him to do all the rowing, you see.
Now, as far as the actual talkback's concerned, will we have direct talkback with you?
Yes, you'll be hearing me the whole time, and if you're talking too much, I'll shut you up.
We go down below bridges to begin with, then back up to the stake boats. At what point do we come in range of the Stargarter cameras?
Well, as the 2 8s are on the stake boats, we'll take over from there, but of course you go on talking.
Then upriver.
There's a camera at Riverside Studios, you can queue in.
Then the finish, a very quick cut.
Fairly quick. Wait for the official time from the official timekeeper, John Snag.
This is the BBC Light programme. The Lincolnshire Handicap is being run at 3 o'clock, and our commentators there are Peter Montague Evans in the grandstand and Raymond Glendenning with our mobile transmitter at the start.
We now join our television outside broadcast cameras at Lincoln, where horses and riders are under starters' orders for the Lincolnshire Handicap. Over to our commentator, Peter O'Sullivan.
Go ahead, Peter O'Sullivan.
And good afternoon to you, and welcome to the very windswept car home.
Finish with 1 in a bit. Let's have 'em a bit tighter at the start. Stand by to move. The flag's up. The flag's up. Move to your rowing position now. Hold it steady as you can. You can pull it wider now.
Pull down slightly, George.
A bit wider. Steady. Steady.
Dambuster fairly charged there.
Stand by to row.
He was pulled back and they're coming into the tapes and they're
Go
off.
off.
And they're
Row.
off, and I should say that those on the inside had a very good run indeed, with Amos leading and Canterbury Bloom on the far side, Master Boyd and the Grey showing in the centre. Now they're moving up with Fortunatus on the outside as they come along now, having done a furlong. And here is Chief Barker leading them a tremendous dance with Chalk Stream and Offspring and Whirlyburn, and on this side Dambuster, then My Pal, then a whole bunch of horses, and in the back is Scargill and Midlanders last. Now they're coming up 3 furlongs to go, and it is still Chief Barker.
Whirlyburn in the centre, My Pal, Canterbury Bloom, Amos, and right over on the left with Who You. And
That's the one I've got my shirt on, the one moving like an elephant.
Chu Chin Chow over on the far side, Chief Barker pressing him. Then in the corded colour, corded cap, Who You.
Keep it wide for the moment.
There. They've got 3 furlongs to
Now
run.
in.
And it's still Chu Chin Chow and Chief
Tighter.
Barker over on the far
Stand by
side.
one.
Chief Barker.
Beagle Rock is
and
going
right
there, he's
over
not
on
improving.
the left of
Scargill's
the
moved
picture
up quite a lot.
Marshall Pill,
Dambuster,
Who You, and
Chu
My
Chin
Pal.
Chow,
And it's
first
Chalk Stream
defender.
who's taking
Now
it
we
up
come
now.
now to the 2 furlong
Precious
mark,
Heather coming
and
to
it is
charge
Chalk
just in
Stream who's
behind
taken
him.
up the running
Over on the
from
far
Who You.
side, Chief
And on this
Barker.
side is
And it's
Marshall
Chalk
Pill
Stream
coming for a
now
long run.
from
But just
Precious
furlong
Heather
to
over
go.
on the far
It is
side,
Chalk Stream now.
Whirlyburn, and Marshall Pill coming there very fast. It's Marshall Pill inside the final furlong coming to take it up from Chalk Stream and Precious Heather and Whirlyburn. Marshall Pill taking up the running now, and it's Marshall Pill going away from Chalk Stream and Precious Heather. Just in behind him comes Statfeld as they race towards the line. It's Marshall Pill from Chalk Stream and Precious Heather. They're the first 3. Then comes Statfeld, Chief Barker, Whirlyburn. Behind Whirlyburn is Who You, and then Belver behind Belver, My Pal. Then Walter H. Then Canterbury Bloom, and you've got to look a long way back.
Magnetic recording Lime Grove here. Yes, we've got it. Yes, we're just going to check it back again, picture quality, and I'll call you again.
Inside the final furlong coming to take it up from Chalk Stream and Precious Heather and Whirlyburn. Marshall Pill taking up the running now, and it's Marshall Pill going away from Chalk Stream and Precious Heather. Just in behind him comes Statfeld as they race towards the line. It's Marshall Pill from Chalk Stream and Precious Heather. They're the first 3. Then comes Statfeld, Chief Barker, Whirlyburn. Behind Whirlyburn is Who You, and then Belver behind Belver, My Pal.
This is where Stuart got.
Yeah, well, no, I've already earthed one of these things.
Yes,
haven't
when we
I?
get back, you've earthed one, and you're earthing the second.
All right, I do the other one, I presume, on here.
Yep.
That's about it.
And the next one's the cap.
Yeah.
Measure that along here. But the tricky part is getting that end off with these.
It's the strenuous part.
Yep. Works in that direction. Right, stand by for a take, please.
Turn them over sound.
Oh, these are off, aren't they?
Mark it. Small back room, scene 36, take 1.
novel about it. They are not novelists. Monsieur Simenon, some of your critics have suggested that you've written too many novels. I apologize.
Wore in their hair the plumes of birds of paradise, the bird we had travelled so far to film. We paid off our 100 porters, giving each one of them a cake of salt.
That's all right, isn't it? We'll put that one in. Now, what about I'll be home for Sunday?
Well, we did have it a couple of weeks ago.
It's a pity, isn't it? Let's see what else we've got. Oh, this is a rather nice one. Dear Jean Metcalf, please play something by Marino Marini. On two-way family favourites for my son in Germany. He's just got engaged to an Italian girl. That would be nice.
How about this one?
Oh, let's try it.
Well, that's 4 of your desert island discs, Miss Gray. Now, the next one you've chosen is Swan Lake. Have you got it there?
Yes, I have somewhere. Here we are.
Mm-hmm. Now, I shall ask you what reason you're choosing it for. What are you going to say?
Well, now there are many. I think I should mention that I first danced this in London on my 15th birthday, 4 acts, and then again when I opened, don't you think, in Moscow with the Bolshoi Company?
Thank you. Can we now have a few bars of the second movement, please? Thank you.
North of Ireland, west of England and BBC Midland. Now that leaves BBC Welsh for the concert hour on Wednesday. Now what about Friday?
North.
North would do fine.
And I'm wanting Dvorak 4 here, which I got from Scotland last time.
Ian White, yes, very good.
Yes.
No, yes, but Thursday's going to be difficult.
My concert orchestra. Oh, it's not back from Holland yet, is it?
The time is 4:31. Mrs. Dale's Diary, a recording of the daily happenings in the life of a doctor's family.
Television script library. Oh, the new Jimmy Edwards series. You'd better talk to Muir and Norden. They're working on it now.
15 seconds. Between the... Never had this problem on Take It From Here, did we?
I think we'll have to shove in a bit of film, you know.
Between there and there?
Yeah.
Well, possibly some film of but the boys running out of the classroom.
Or bolting into assembly hall, show them it's morning.
We could we ring up facilities and see if we can get them filmed? A film shot of them.
We've only tomorrow afternoon's the only
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Well, no, wait a minute. We can't get them tomorrow afternoon. They've got the proper school lessons to learn and so on.
It's the trouble with the kids, isn't it? We only have them in the morning.
Yeah. I think boys are the worst thing to work with of anything in television, don't you? It's never started.
I'll tell you one thing worse.
What's that?
The Archers.
Why?
They work with cattle.
Well, that's the future trend. Cattle born without horns, and somehow or other we've got to get that into the Archers.
Well, all right, Godfrey. Let's say then that the new Squire of Ambridge introduces hornless cattle in place of horned cattle. That's what you want.
No, not all his cattle, his beef cattle.
Well, why?
Because he can get more cattle into the same space.
Well, it may be sound economically, Godfrey, but with all the goodwill in the world, what storyline can we get out of that?
That's just what I was wondering about.
Well, who in the village of Ambridge, our village, would object to cattle without horns?
Oh, the traditionalists, of course, the elder generation.
The old people, the old yokels.
Oh,
in the village pub.
Yeah, don't look the same at all. Tain't natural. Interfering with God's creatures.
So we can play it for comedy. Well, all right, I'll take the comedy line. Now let's dream up some drama, romance.
Well, let's try to work up something this way. Let's say that the new squire who's come into the village
turning everything topsy-turvy. Pays a little too much attention, for example, to his farm manager's wife, and his farm manager's at loggerheads with him over these blokes.
Well, that's dragging it in a bit, isn't it? I mean, farm manager's wife, horned cattle.
Gives us a domestic situation.
Seems to me that everybody in this village is going to fight from now on except the cattle. That brings out another point, Godfrey. What about all these people who breed cattle with horns? What are they going to say?
Well, there'll be a few individuals, of course, who'll be against it, but the Herd Book Society, they're very much with it.
So it's all right, then? Well, speaking purely as a scriptwriter, I still like my cattle with horns.
This is the BBC Home Service. Hello, children. We present now by Anthony Buckridge, Jennings at School.
Hey, look out. There's Mr. Cawston and old Wilkie coming now.
Don't say a word.
Okay. Be very careful, you Jessica, because if we are caught, we really had it.
Suspiciously quiet in here all of a sudden, don't you think, Carter?
Certainly is, Wilkins. No reason, I suppose, Jennings?
Oh, no, sir. No reason. Well, no special reason, that is, sir.
Good.
Ah, Derbyshire.
Sir?
That arithmetic lesson you missed yesterday when you had to go to matron.
Yes, sir?
I was explaining some new work to the form. I don't want you to drop behind the others.
No, sir.
You better come along to the staff room immediately after tea, and I'll go through it with you.
Yes, sir.
Right. Was there anything else, Carter?
No, I don't think so. Right, tea bill. Off you go, you boys, and wash your hands.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Right, sir. And don't any of you forget, during tea, eggs to Venables, butter to Derbyshire, bread, salt and pepper.
Who originated the character of Sherlock Holmes?
Dr. Watson. Oh.
Conan Doyle.
Conan Doyle, that's right. Where is the Piazza San Marco?
Rome. Venice.
Yes, all right. Yes, it is Venice. And that's the end of that now. What are the scores, Tony? How many buzzes?
It works out rather well because they've got 8 buzzes each.
Oh, that's 12 each. All right, we'll be coming back to that later. And incidentally, later we'll be going to Cardiff for our Interregional Quiz Championship. And by the way, 2 weeks' time, through Eurovision, we visit Holland, where a Great Britain team challenges a Dutch team. But now it's time for Inspector Bruce and the Six.
And now it's 5:30. Time for Roundabout.
No, it's coming on really quite well.
How long have you got now?
About 30, 32 minutes, something like that. Order.
Yes, but we need
Another
one.
5.
No, well, we need an extra 5, maybe an extra 6, because we don't. None of this will extend.
No, that's true enough.
Have you any ideas, Derek?
Hello, Bristol. We've got the aerial coverage on the Shackleton. Brian, they've got it. All right. That's fine. Can you cut it to about 1.5 minutes? Good. Yes, and you'll be about a minute in from the beginning of the program. Right, thanks very much.
Monitoring service. Yes, they're on the air. We've had the first cut it off.
We're in trouble with Cairo, home service. The 9 megacycle channel has gone down. Give us 15475, will you? Okay, and yes, Peking's excellent now. Yes, and by the way, we're clear now on Delhi and also on Australia. And we shall be wanting on demand at 1915.
John, urgent flash from Moscow. Another moon rocket.
Okay. Moscow, flash.
They've launched another moon rocket.
Good Lord, let's have it. You tell Egton, I'll tell Bush.
Egton newsroom, please, urgent.
Bush, center desk, please.
Monitoring here. Moscow radio, 17...
Moscow 1730, say they've launched another moon rocket. Yes, on the printer now.
You'd better go and watch the teleprinters.
Who have we got just going on the air?
The Russians and the Arabs. I think it's big enough to give back to the Russians, don't you think?
Oh, yes.
Right. Bill, get some background, will you? I'll make the announcement on the blower. Attention all newsrooms.
The Russians say they have just launched another moon rocket. You'll be getting a story in 2 minutes from now.
That'll make a good lead story for the 1800 General Overseas.
That
was monitoring on the line, John. Apparently the Russians have just sent up a new moon rocket.
Oh, that's good. Philip, that'll make a lead for our 6 o'clock. I'll rush and have a look at the printer, shall I?
Here we go, studio. Script check for the 6 o'clock national. 1A and 1B is the Atlantic Air Search. 2A American Trade. 3 Influenza in Thailand. 4 Lincolnshire Handicap. And then we go on to 4A and 4B. Hold it, everybody, in the studio, will you? Change coming up in the 6 o'clock.
There's a new lead story. Well, it will be the lead. Russians have launched a moon rocket. Can we get an illustration on that?
We've got about 10 minutes, 9.5 minutes. We could try for a diagram on a camera. What about that?
Yes, that'll be fine. And we'll have to cut something, won't we?
What shall we lose?
Queen's horses.
Or this one here, the boat race practice.
Yes.
The last film, 6A and 6B, all right?
Yeah, that's better, yes.
All right, everybody. A new lead coming in, and we're dropping 6A and 6B. The boat race film is out. It's out.
Британский премьер-министр только что вернулся в Англию. Говорит Лондон. Внимание. Только что получено следующее сообщение. Москва.
5 seconds. Stand by 2. Stand by the caption scanner. Stand by to cue Richard. Superimpose. Mix through. A cue on 2.
Good evening. Within the last few minutes, we've heard that the Russians have launched another moon rocket.
This is the BBC Home Service. Here is the news. Moscow Radio has just announced the successful launching of another moon rocket.
هنا لندن. سيداتي وسادتي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Parla Londra. Il servizio italiano della BBC vi trasmette le ultime notizie.
This is London calling. Here is the news read by Hugh Myers. Moscow Radio says
Search
another
for
moon
the
rocket.
missing airliner. And RAF Shackleton from St. Morgan in Cornwall reported a short while ago that pieces of wreckage have been sighted about 100 miles off the island.
Run, Bristol, tell us in here.
Aircraft searched an area of more than 500 square miles. And here's some film of the Shackleton which first sighted the wreckage this afternoon.
Chartered flight from Amsterdam to New York. An RAF Shackleton from St. Morgan in Cornwall reported a short while ago that pieces of wreckage had been sighted about 100 miles off the Irish coast.
Central Control, Lime Grove to all regions. Central Control to regional studios and switching centres for tonight's regional news opt-outs. Stand by, please. Stand by, Alexandra Palace. Switch out, regions, switch out. And cut to Palace.
Now for viewers in London and the South East. Railway modernisation is in the...
As you may have heard in the national news, a big search is going on.
Activity at present in the forests which have been planted in Northern Ireland in recent years.
And here's the news from Wales.
A great Midland estate to be broken up. A large
shipping in the north of Scotland has been running for shelter in gale force winds.
The development of smokeless zones in northern towns and cities is becoming effective.
Is Newcastle. Here is news of the northeast. Industrial.
Here is the East Anglian news broadcast on VHF. The Leicester trawler entered.
Northern Ireland is getting near its post-war housing target.
Conference ended in Inverness this afternoon. It was.
And that's the end of the local news for the Bristol Channel area.
This is the Welsh Home Service Dymara Glen Cymru, Dymar Newyddion. Bu raid achub da aelod o'r...
Chi calon Cameron yn och, leis y fforst y bel, fer y ffigur.
Ferifike, 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 shalom. Ferifike, 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 shalom. Ferifike, 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 shalom. Magas mi kinitteriusha, ferifike, shalom.
This is Network 3. Good evening. Our first program tonight is Record Review, in which Alan Frank, in Building a Library, suggests some...
This is Reginald Turnell calling Radio Newsreel from St Morgan.
Good,
and
that's
the
the
latest
Tatsfield
news is that
actuality.
we've
Now, if only we
sighted
get the
wreckage
scripts, we can
from
get
the
it in
missing
number two.
airline.
Oh,
Our
bless you, Dougie,
Shackleton
that's fine. Let's
has
get to this.
completed
Don't bother
refueling
to
in
walk,
record
we want the
time
thing now.
and will be rejoining the search immediately. And this is
thanks.
Reginald Turnell returning you to Radio
be very short,
Newsreel
this
in
one.
London.
We hope to go over to St Morgan later in this edition for more news of the search. Since Moscow Radio announced the launching of a new moon rocket, the BBC's receiving station at Tatsfield has picked up its signals. Here's a recording of them made since this edition of Radio
Right, now bring your
Newsreel
stop
came
in
on the
now,
air.
right? Take him out. Good, fine. We only want about 10 seconds.
What's your problem there, then?
Our problem in this respect is that we have no world orbit in Somali.
taas waxa weeye markii rocketku uu gaaro hawada meel uusan ka soo noqonayn oo uu ku wareegayo uusan dib soo noqonayn.
That's when the rocket takes its place in heaven.
A rocket would be a boon, but they only speak Russian on the moon. And with that, we end our programme for tonight, in which you met Christopher Mayhew, Sir Grantley Adams, John Osborne, Montgomery Hyde, Noel Harrison, Cy Grant, John Morgan, Derek Hart, and Geoffrey Johnson-Smith. Now we bid you good night, and the next tonight will be tomorrow night. Good night.
Willie Cave, you're my best friend, you are. 1 minute, you said it'd last. 4 minutes, he goes on.
My dear Cliff, the film only arrived in the machine 10 minutes before the end of the programme, and I simply had to guess how long it was.
Never mind. How did it go?
Well,
All right.
you know, medium average, say so, I would say. All right, more than that.
This is the BBC Home Service. Tonight, the BBC Symphony Orchestra, leader Paul Beard, conductor Rudolf Schwartz, is to play Beethoven's 7th Symphony.
H6. Yes, control room.
This is the BBC Light Programme. Ladies and gentlemen, we present Kenneth Horne in Beyond Our Ken.
This is the BBC third programme. Tonight, John Lehman is going to talk about the development of English literature during the war years.
Good evening. Welcome to Sportsview. Tonight's programme ranges from racing to boxing, from football to skating, and we begin with the big race of the day, the Lincolnshire Handicap. BBC
One chap there who'd been arrested for kissing a strange girl in the middle of Piccadilly Circus. A foolish thing to do, and as the magistrate said...
In future, you want to use a bit of common.
Anti-fascist movement dominated the writing of the younger poets and novelists. Their work as a whole was increasingly inspired by left-wing political partisanship and radical social criticism. There were, of course, exceptions.
Say, sir, you've got a mole on your neck.
Have I really?
Yes, you have. Go on, shoot. Get out of it. Go on, go on. They come in from the river, you know, sir.
at the same time. But this evening in Sportsview, we're going to use the Eurovision link in the opposite direction to take you to Davos in Switzerland for part of the European Skating Championships. So over now from London to Davos in Switzerland.
One finds in both poets and prose writers the awareness that the real enemy was the religion of power.
It gets rather chilly at this time of the year.
Well, I must say I'm rather looking forward to an evening of music and culture. Sounds as if it might be rather unusual. Kenneth Horne saying goodbye for now and leaving you with this thought. If a man keeps £500 under his pillow...
For what Saint-Exupéry called human respect, never completely won.
It's good night, good sports viewing, and thank you for joining us.
Le service français de la BBC vous présente Londres soir. La Russie a procédé au lancement d'une nouvelle fusée.
Rehearsing all day. Hold on a moment. Television press office. Oh, one moment, please. Could you talk to the mail, Dickie, while I speak to the Chronicle? Okay. Cool.
Hello, Henry.
Now, what was it you wanted, Philip?
Flora Robson. Hein, Herr Wright. All right, Q, Mother Courage, and 1.
142 on 2. 143.
Shift his gun.
What's the matter? Let me get my washing up that gun, you fool.
Catholics, surprise attack. We don't know if we can get away in time. Shift this gun. For heaven's sake, I better get back to the commander.
144.
Hey,
145.
This would happen just when business is
146.
With the enemy so close, it may be dangerous. Oh, blessed are the peacemakers. A good slogan in wartime. If only I had a cloak.
Stay on him, yes, stay on him.
Special danger because of my religion.
It's against my better judgment. Now run.
Thank you, most generous of you, but...
Stay on him.
Perhaps I better stay. If I run, I might attract the attention of the enemy.
Leave it.
148.
Who's going to pay you for that? It'll cost you your lives. What on earth are you doing in a horse hat? Take it off this minute. Are you crazy? With the enemy coming, you want them to find you and ruin you? And she has the boots on, too, like a whore of Babylon. Take them off. Oh, God, Captain, help get me these boots off her.
1 Q, evade and cut to 1.
151.
Have I got too much powder on?
Oh, no, just right.
Where are my red boots? I left them here. Oh, now I'll have to go back to the camp barefoot. It's a scandal.
There she is. It's too late for his skirt.
Q the chaplain and cut to 2.
156.
For heaven's sake, the flag! Take it down!
Glory in the highest.
And on 1, as the flag comes down, that's it, and
157.
fade out. Q telecine.
The other work in the program is the string quartet by Ravel. There are 4 movements.
And that's the end of Today in Parliament. Now, here is the 11th news summary. Ships in the north of...
Can you put tone on 699?
That concert was given by the Allegri String Quartet, and that ends broadcasting in the 3rd programme this evening. Tomorrow it will start at 7:30 with a programme of Italian orchestral music. Market trends
And that brings to an end broadcasting in the home service for today. We'll be with you as usual in the morning at 7:15 with our market report for farmers. Good night, everybody.
And that's the end of the weather summary, and it's also the end of our programs for tonight on BBC Television. In a few moments, we're closing down until tomorrow, so I'll say good night, everyone. Good night.
The air search is to be resumed at dawn, but the RAF search headquarters at Plymouth say there is now little hope of finding any of the 90 passengers alive.
And with the late night news summary, we come to the end of broadcasting for today in the Light programme. In a few moments, you'll hear the chimes of Big Ben for midnight.
This is the BBC television service. We now present from Studio A, Alexandra Palace, another programme in our series of experimental transmissions in colour.
Early one morning, just as the sun was rising, I heard a maiden sing in the valley below. Oh, don't deceive me, oh, never leave me. How could you use a poor maiden so? Remember
Hold it there. Tighten it a bit, John. Use that little bit of red behind her shoulder. That's it. Going to 2.
Shortly on 2. Deceive me, oh, never
Going to 1.
how could you use a poor maiden so?
There's a bit green in the shadows on the left. Is that shading?
Yes, we'll have to change the green tube tomorrow.
You mean today, don't you?